Alrighty. Hello, everybody. This is episode 22 of Shoot the Breeze, a chill interview and a chill time all around for you and me. I'm your host, Heavy Divider, and right alongside me for my guest for the night is, well, he's a friendly person. As a matter of fact, not only is he a friendly person on hand, he's a good person you can always have a conversation with, no matter what it's about, as well as just basically hang out and just chill with one another. My guest for tonight is Phoenixprime1, but I call him Phoenix for short. Welcome, buddy. Sorry, you're good. Backfire in my hand.
Wait, what's poppin'?
What's poppin'? Yeah,
what's going on, kitties?
Yeah, welcome on in, guys. So let's get started with one question on hand, and basically, I think we talked about this just to kind of re-jog our memories here. How the hell did we meet?
Yeah. About, what, 2 years ago in a box world? With all sorts of craziness happening?
Yeah, certain craziness on hand happening, and I remember when we became friends, I think this was, I joined off a friend, and it was a weird world on hand. Basically, I think it was like its first kind of like prefab, like home world someone had, but I don't know who it belonged to because it had like certain secrets for it. And basically, I went to join on somebody, and then I saw you over there, and basically you were having a conversation about something, and I think you were unsure about something on hand, and I decided to hop in and talk to you about it on hand. And basically,
I can't remember what it was either.
Yeah,
something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like self-doubt or something. But I wanted to help you and basically tell you that
that's one of those things. Yeah.
And just tell you, believe in yourself, and basically you're gonna do great.
Oh yeah.
Don't give up on yourself.
Well,
And then basically that was the first major conversation on hand, and then afterwards, pretty much we became friends ever since then.
Yeah, you were a lot taller back then too.
Yeah, I was a lot.
You were like 3 feet taller than me.
Yeah, that's why I had to crouch out and take a picture with you at that time too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So, for my next question on hand, I was going to ask for your VRChat origins. What got you into this game, as well as like what kind of like attracted you to it?
Well, I had been a kind of in a lull in my life, just kind of like working and not doing much else, and playing some games like PUBG and whatnot at the time. And I watched a lot of YouTube videos and stuff. I still watch a lot of it now, but I ran into Nax21's VRChat series when he first started making it on YouTube. I think I watched the first couple of his episodes, and I was like hooked because he was like a funny guy. He didn't really understand the memes or like the internet stuff, so he was very new to all of this kind of stuff, and I thought it was very endearing, him as a person and stuff, just having a fun time with all these random people he's just meeting online. And I figured, hey, this is a nice little community, I like to hop on and join that, but I don't have VR, right? So I was like, well, I'll just play desktop for a while. And so I played desktop on my actual laptop I had at the time, before I actually bought all my computer stuff I have now. But I hopped on, made some cool friends in random public worlds, got to see the whole Knuckles meme become a thing, and then ran into a cool group of friends, hung out with for a longer period of time, and then just met a bunch of random streamers, and people said, hey, you should start streaming because you're kind of a funny guy. And I'm like, I guess, and so that's kind of how it kicked off, basically. So I haven't really left since.
Yeah, time's gone by, and basically we're still here, so there you go.
Yeah, I'm like 2 hours away from hitting 1,000 hours streamed on VRChat, just on Twitch itself. So, which is kind of weird to think about. I stream that much of the game.
Yeah,
it's the most streamed game I have on my entire Twitch channel. So,
well, that shows how much you love the game in general, especially for what you want to build community-wise, and just like for everything else all together. But so. My next question I was going to ask too is about hobbies on besides this game in general. You mentioned PUBG and everything, and I know before that we talked about World of Warcraft or so. Anything else besides like
right.
Anything else besides like any multiplayer games, or basically anything else you do hobby wise or so?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a gamer for a long time. It's like back in like the old. I used to do arcades when I was a little kid. I had the Nintendo all the way up to basically now. I haven't really owned any super modern consoles other than the Switch, but I've always been an FPS gamer, so I do a lot of shooters. I just got the new Call of Duty game, Black Ops Cold War, and it's actually it's pretty good. Multiplayer's pretty good. It reacts pretty well. I like the time to kill is easy. I enjoy doing that. Shadowlands is coming out for a while, or it's out, I guess, now for a while. And we'll be playing that at some point this weekend or something like that, so that'll be fun. But beyond that, gaming-wise, I like to take pictures. I take some photos and videos. You know, I just went to the ARNC show down here, and it was a lot of fun. You know, seeing planes fly by and everything. It was cool. You know, yeah. Little stuff like that, you know, traveling around, seeing, exploring world places, and you know, it's just stuff I like doing. Traveling, basically.
Yeah, just traveling, just kind of like seeing the sights on hand, as well as like take pictures and memories on hand of certain stuff here and there, which is basically
exactly.
Which is good. I mean, because you want to save those memories, because you never know. You never know on hand for everything else that can happen here between.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The experiences are good enough. Having the pictures just makes it more fun, I guess, to show other people. You know?
Yeah, I should have took more pictures when I got a chance to meet you in real life, but sadly, I was just more caught up in the moment of seeing everybody.
Fun. Getting to meet you in person was so funny. So I'm like, he's more handsome than his avatar.
Good lord.
See that now you just need to grow out your whole stash and your beard like you have in real life, and it'll be like way more cool.
Yeah, I know. I need when I get a chance, I need to trim that up anyways.
You need the goremonger treatment, you know, just put on the beard and everything.
Yeah, just have the Noah beard and everything.
Yeah.
So,
you should just have a casual outfit instead of like your anime look. You should have like sweater jacket kind of set up, you know, and jeans. You know, so
I think it was because I was blending in, because I had no idea what to expect when it came down to it for what we were running into. So okay, so here's so earlier on I told you about a curveball I had on hand. So basically I was gonna throw this to you. So one of the topics I want to talk to you about is the whole Lewd community on hand, where basically
oh boy.
So I'm gonna throw this curveball your way on hand, basically in the sense of, as you know on hand, that basically even if you're on Twitter or you're following certain people on hand, sometimes certain things pop up on your feed that you have no idea about, or basically or things in general, or basically when it came to like VRC wires or so on hand. Do you suppose that kind of thing, when it comes to like the whole Lewd community, needs to they need to have a control on their urge on hand, just because it may endanger the game in general, especially if Twitch sees it?
It's hard. It's hard because let's look at games like Second Life, for example. Now, I used to play Second Life way back in the day. And Second Life was that game where you would pop it. It was a big, giant sandbox game where obviously like you put your money into it, make money out of it. People made millions of dollars in the game, right? Now, Second Life was a mature rated game, so there was no moderation in content. Everyone just did whatever they wanted to, obviously within some TOS, right? Yeah. You know, games that aren't allowed on Twitch anymore because of how the adult content works. Now, if you're a chat, they're kind of obligated to not have having certain lewd content because of their own TOS and how the game's development was sponsored by these large VR developers like HTC Vive and Rift. So they had certain guidelines they had to follow when it came to letting that content exist. Well, obviously people are going to be people and do what they want to do in the game, even if it's breaking TOS, right? Yeah. And I think it also limits expression to a certain degree, because I don't think expressing sexuality versus just for lewd content and stuff like that, right, are two different things, right? Obviously people having sex or you know, or role ERPing, I guess you could say, in Second Life, or sorry, in VRChat here is vastly different than someone just hopping around in like a very scampy avatar or just simply dancing and stuff like that. I think there's certain distinctions you should make between that, but at the same time, it's hard to regulate that kind of stuff because, you know, there'd have to be mods everywhere watching everyone doing everything all the time, which is just something you can't do in a game that has whatever, like 30,000 people in it or something like that, right? It's just not going to be feasible, you know. I think to a certain degree, I think they should definitely not post as much of it on Twitter, especially because the developers watch what people post on Twitter. Yeah, you know, which is just dumb and in the get-go. And as long as people like losing their accounts for 100 days or permanently banned, then that's on them, you know. But I do think there is an issue when it comes to some streamers using the sex appeal or the sexuality of their character in game to prop up their stream, or to get their audience to see what they're doing by using their sexualized bodies to do so. I mean, I like having fun as my character Amber, and obviously she has proportions, you know, she has skin and she has different outfits that accentuate that. I play it up for laughs and have fun with it, but there are definitely people in the community that take it to the degree it shouldn't have to be taken, unfortunately. And that's just how things operate, you know, in the game. It shouldn't always happen that way, but again, it's the fact that the TOS is so not doesn't like to bend to certain gray areas. It just it's either yes or no. It's only absolutes,
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, it's kind of hard to say that you should regulate people's desire to just be themselves or like to be something they don't get to normally be in their real lives, versus over them saying you can't do this, you can't X, Y, Z, you're X body over a Y body, kind of situation. So.
No, I got
certain limits, I do believe there should be limits, but I think on some certain expression, I think should be okay to have,
Mm-hmm.
But
no, I got you. No, I got you. It's just basically, I think it's just the fact that basically when it comes to content creators or basically who do stream VR chat or basically do it like for instance of like role plays and
held to a higher standard.
I think it's because it should be held. People might believe it needs to be held in a higher standard because of the fear of that one person is basically going to go too far and Twitch is going to look at that and blacklist it. And that's the thing.
Right. This stuff has kind of happened, too, in VR, where some larger streamers have hopped on with larger Twitch streamers who have come into VRChat to see the game, and they show the more risque side of the game to them, which would be technically TOS breaking. And other people outside of those streaming communities got in trouble for it, for just showing up in those VODs and showing up in those clips and stuff. When they really didn't do anything other than just be there at the wrong place at the wrong time kind of situation.
Yeah. So. Yeah, anything can happen on hand with that entirely. I think, and like I mentioned, the whole blacklisting thing to it, just because, one, it's basically, when you think about it too, it's like, even if you're streaming just a chiller or so, you won't be able to do that. Same thing for like, actually, that would take the entire RP community down. That happened too, where basically nobody could stream on VRChat.
Yeah, I mean to a certain extent. I think when it comes to roleplay, it's different because most of the roleplays aren't accentuating just sexualized content or in general not alluding to that sexualized thing. I mean, yeah, obviously there's romance or character interactions that can be romantic, maybe erotic to a certain degree. Obviously either by dialogue or by some simple actions like kissing or whatever, right? Some PDA kind of stuff. But I think in roleplay senses, I think. They're pretty much safe for the most part, and most of them are based on fantasy and kind of doing their own storyline kind of stuff, So
I got you on hand. Yeah. So moving along from that, I have this thing titled down as the streamer atmosphere, and the reason I put that down is because when you're a streamer or anything or content creator, sometimes when you go to try to meet people, there's like this certain atmosphere around that group of people or basically that kind of streamer or so, and usually that's never the case on hand, but sometimes people foresee it as like, this is what this person is, or basically, this person's too busy to, even if you say hello or so, you have no idea if they even acknowledge you or not or so, when they're maybe doing something else or there's something in their ear. So, but I was going to say, as your time as a streamer and as your time right now as, VRChat streamer, and when you ever get a chance or so, have you ever run into that kind of atmosphere or basically a certain atmosphere where it kind of like threw you off? Where people think it's like
it can, it really depends on who you're hanging out with and stuff. I've been around for a while where we've had multiple generations of larger streamers in the game. Either now they've moved on, some of those streamers have moved on from streaming only exclusive VRChat to obviously going on to either in real life stuff or whatever, and now we have new generations of people doing it. I think we're on the third generation of large streamers going and doing this kind of stuff and staying in the game and making content in the game.
Yeah, third generation.
Depending on who you hang out with and meet. I mean, some of these larger creators that are making in the triple or quadruple digits, 3 to 4 digit viewer count. I think some of them hang out with us and are chill. They just let people come in and hang out with them. Sometimes they're doing private stuff, which is obviously fine. But to a certain extent, I think they do cut themselves off from the rest of the community by just only hopping on when there's content available instead of just hopping on and seeing what the community's like off stream. I think more people are a lot less flummoxed or kind of stressed out when these people show up because they feel like they have to be entertaining or else they're not living up to the streamer's reputation or something like that. Let's say for example you have someone like Lolathon who pops in, he's really funny. There's an energy to him when he comes into a room and he's laughing and doing stuff and making everyone laugh and have a good time. Other people have more of a chill atmosphere. They're there. They pop in. You might be a little more fangirly around them, but they're more relaxed, and it's a different atmosphere. Now, again, it depends on each person is individually different when it comes to letting people in. If they're random strangers, or they don't know you, or if they might know you from somebody else, somebody else kind of situation. But in general, I think most people are pretty chill. I mean, I've hung out with pretty much everybody, either in real life, you're seeing them at Twitchcon, or here in game. I've hung out with them quite often, but some people just relegate themselves off to only doing content with certain people, which is fine. It's up to them, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I think they should sometimes disconnect off of the stream and just pop in and hang out with people and see how it's really like sometimes. Just to see how the game used to be. Because I started out the game without streaming. I hopped on and played games for months and months and months on here and just had a good time. Then I popped in and started streaming. It was different, but each their own. So
no, I got you. I think it's if I can kind of put some more information for you. I think the reason that people kind of like regulate themselves to like certain groups of people, I think it's maybe based on like chemistry when it comes down to it. Like they can.
That's it too. They kind of. That's the thing when it comes to streamers, is that there's this kind of social contract that no one really talks about, but everyone does, is where other streamers enter a room, right? We try to bounce off of each other and make each other's streams good by having good conversations or having random moments happen, or we have a good laugh about something. We're constantly ingesting each other's energy back and forth to each other. But it's awkward and weird when two different kinds of streamers that do this same content in the game, although obviously doing different things in that game, come and collide together, and then they don't really mesh together properly. They kind of have that kind of awkward energy together, and it does happen occasionally, a lot less now, but when people started joining on the game who were new creators, it kind of happened a lot more often. So someone that does laughy kind of fun content would come in, and someone who's just like a chill streamer would come in, and then they wouldn't mesh, they wouldn't talk to each other. Someone would make jokes and the person wouldn't laugh, and then it'd be like an awkward whole situation like you'd have in real life. So
I mean, it's also to the fact that basically everybody's got their own sense of humor, and I talked about this with Lockscar.
That's it too.
I talked about this with Lockscar previously beforehand, where basically everybody's got their own sense of humor, no matter what it is, and basically everybody's gonna laugh at something, and at the same time or so you may get it, or sometimes you may not have an idea of why it's funny, or be like connected to it overall.
Right.
But for overall sake or so, I will say that when it comes down to it or so, people at their time just need to be able to kind of like break away a little bit, like take a small take a day off from stream and just be able to see how everybody else is doing or so when you get a chance.
Right. Yeah. Just have a sit down and chat with each other. Have and obviously work things out if you have issues with someone else. If it's unspoken issues, like if you think it's on one side and the other person doesn't know your issues, you should just go up and talk to them about it. Like, hey, I feel like you did this XYZ, and the person will have no idea that you got offended by it or something you might have done by accident. So it's better off to go and talk to people and loosen and flatten out these misunderstandings, because misunderstandings can turn into big problems later on, where people just don't want to talk to each other, or they get in a drama or something because one side thinks they got shafted over another side. So
no, I got you on hand. I understand. And last thing, the thing I got to follow up here is basically old VRC stories we had on hand, and I know that basically when it comes down to like certain things you've witnessed on hand or so, or basically like certain things that kind of like get sketched in your mind or so, that comes to mind. Like, I will say, for example, basically, since we're in this world, and we talked about this earlier on or so, basically, guys, if you don't know, in this world or so, when I went to go visit Phoenix at one point, basically, there was two people on hand in this world too, along with a couple others, one of them being Black Mage Bear, and then the other one being Small Sandwich, and I don't know what the context behind it was, but Small Sandwich was dying for some reason, and basically, I think I remember you dying laughing on hand, and I just remember you asking what happened, and basically Black Mage Bear said, I tried to get him to say, "Holy shit, Batman, a shark is trying to eat my ass." I think it was like, "Holy shit, Batman, the shark repellent isn't working, it's trying to eat my ass," or something along the lines of that, and it was like over there in that corner right there on hand.
Oh yeah. We have all those kinds of fun. That's the fun thing about VRChat. You never run into random people in the game, you end up being like best friends with them, like even in real life sometimes. So like, Black Mage Bear, he doesn't hop on as much now, but when he was streaming VRChat, he would always like scream random stuff or just be like random as hell and just say goofy stuff, just to get a reaction sometimes. And that's the kind of fun things you run into in VR. Like for example, like I ran into. I didn't realize there was a whole Star Wars role-playing thing that happens in VR. It's different ones do different things, right? So there's one group that does only like the original series content, and there's a whole troop of them that are just clone troopers. And like I hung out with them for a couple nights, and they're just as goofy and random as everybody else is, But there's just a bunch of clone tubers running around, like shooting guns and making memes and stuff, and all having a good time. I had I friended like almost half their group in one night just because they were all a bunch of fun people to hang out with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the kind of fun interactions you get to have in a game like this. You know, we don't really get to have that kind of stuff happen in real life. In real life, obviously you get to go out, go to a bar, something like that. Real stuff happens, you know. But when you're in game here, all sorts of wacky shenanigans happens.
I like to
you
believe
get the bond over. So.
Yeah, I like to believe that everything on the internet, no matter who you are or where you come from, basically everybody's got an inner shit poster in them. Where basically they're always gonna have they're gonna have that moment.
Some stupid thing they laugh about, or some quote or something from a movie that someone else just immediately connected with, and that's the kind of connective tissue that we have as human beings. Really, is our collective knowledge of things, and also the little things that we attach ourselves to, and how other people attach those things as well to themselves, and how you guys like find each other, you know, and like laughing at the same jokes, the same movie quotes, all that kind of stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm. No, I got you.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing on hand here and there. So, moving on to some different topics on it, I will ask you about the whole VRChat current present right now. Now, compared to when you first
state of presence,
well, comparing to when you first started with VRC all the way to here and now, or so, what are some of the things you're happy they changed up, and or if there's certain things you wish they would have kept the same on hand compared to here and now?
Okay. It's kind of hard to judge because I'm not one that does game programming or anything like that. I'm not a developer or anything like that. But you know, if someone has been in the gaming scene for a long time, I've seen patches that have either fixed games and renewed them, or I've seen games that get patched and they just break the community. People don't want to be a part of it anymore. People are just done with it, you know.
Yeah.
And VRChat's kind of in that weird at the moment is kind of on that weird middle ground where people are like kind of like they want to leave, they want to go to other games, and people are like, hey, I want to see how far this goes, you know.
Yeah.
Situation like and the thing is when I first started, like that first year or so, like hopping in, they only just made the VR camera, so like we could actually stream with it and talk with people and take pictures if we had VR.
Yep.
You know, and it took a long time to. Besides the camera update, they did the security update, which let us mute avatars and block avatars so we can see things and particles and all that stuff, which was a good update.
Which is good.
Fix the bigger issues within the game. The big stuff. I mean, obviously they've done some things to obviously address IK issues with people's movement into the body, things like that, little small things. But the larger things they haven't really tackled yet that people are more concerned about. Obviously, the avatar ripping issue that's been going on for a long time, as well as people with modded clients. It's hard because trying to get people to not use modded clients is difficult because once they get that client's information, once they can clone it, copy the files and information, they can manipulate it and use it and control it however they really want to. Unless VRChat was to make a client where it couldn't be changed and manipulated, like how some of the other clients operate with like other games, like in like Battle.net games or like or Origin or something like that, where it's very difficult to get your hands on that software to manipulate the games outside of just that that launcher or whatever, right? Instead of having the game exe, they can make a launcher and make it better, but they haven't thought of that yet, or they haven't had the brain to think, hey, maybe we should have a launcher instead of fix these issues,
Yeah.
And also the controversial issue of now people are talking about the VRChat Plus program that they're implementing soon, where they're going to be asking, or it's
a weird title.
I think everyone has to pay for it, but it's optional, right? It's $10 a month or $100 a year, where you get to basically have extra save slots for your avatars. You get custom, new headbands, custom new nameplates, and stuff like that,
and all that,
and some added trust, which was one of the features. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Added trust, just because you pay them $10 a month. It's just so they can pay them, so they can keep fixing and updating the game. And a lot of the issues, they've made millions of dollars from the investments that they've had from HTC Vive and the Rift. And it's like, well, where happened to those millions of dollars, right? And why are you asking for more money when you could be fixing the issues now, right? That's what a lot of people have concerns and issues over. I, for one, I'm excited to see them at least attempt something that the community asked for years ago and actually try and do it. I think they should have implemented it in a different way. Instead of just saying like $10, they could have had some tiered system, like $5, $10, $20, something like that, every year, and see what people would pay for, And I also think the timing was also really bad because of all the stuff that's posted on Twitter and dramas that they kind of get into, unfortunately. instead of having a PR person that directly addresses people on Twitter, they just have the developers, which isn't really a great, healthy way for developers to waste their time just getting in arguments with people on Twitter, you know?
No.
So
No. I know.
I'm cautiously optimistic, I would say, about the new developments that might happen. I obviously want to see the things that are big issues, obviously Avatar ripping being one, and also the modded clients getting addressed and fixed, and also just general optimization of the game, where the game runs better, gets smoother. We get updates to the new Unity asset package, which is what we should have now, but we're not. We're still like 2 or 3 behind. And that's why we still have issues with people being able to run the game on their PCs, because the game only runs on 1 core of your CPU versus running on all cores like most every other game does, pretty much. So yeah, that'll be a nice big game fix in optimization. So you can have worlds with 50 or 60 people in them instead of just being like 10 people and then you lag out, you know, or crash or something, you know. So
that's all good.
But yeah, so that's a whole mouthful there, but yeah.
No, I got you. I know. No, I got you on hand.
It's kind of a can of worms on that one.
I will say on hand too, with a VRC Plus and all that, like, it is a good idea on hand, but I will say for my personal opinion, it feels like it's a tightrope, because they got to cautiously walk it on hand, because all it's going to take is one person to push it off either way, whatever direction it's going to go, and whatever that point's supposed to be on hand could easily be pushed. So that's the carefulness on hand that I'm worried about for it, just because like somebody can easily misinterpret it, or basically somebody's big can easily twist it as something else, and basically it'll cause another big problem on him with VRC in the sense of like monetization for it.
Oh
so,
yeah.
So, but let me talk to you about TwitchCon on hand. Now, I will say, first day on hand when we actually, I don't think it was just the first day. I think it was basically that Thursday or so. Yeah, I flew in. I flew in. I waited for session. Me and him got
last year, so it's got him.
Yeah, last year on hand. I was gonna say I met with session. I got all the way up there and basically got my tag and everything. I think I met you on the wall on the first day.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, so Thursday. So, so I get over there on Thursday, right? I'm on my plane and everything like that. They're supposed to pick me up from the airport, right? To take me to the Airbnb and drop off our stuff, right? Well, they had gone ahead, and a bunch of the people came into the airport, and they just took them to the convention on the airport. So I had to take an Uber from the airport to get to the convention center to meet it back up with them to drive to our Airbnb to drop all our stuff off, right? So I get to the convention with my luggage and all my bags and crap, and I'm walking by, and the first person I see is Hawks there, and then I see everybody else is just hanging out in this one spot. There was Hawks, there was Curry, God, like everybody was there, pretty much, like some Scoots and Black Mage Bear. I'm like, why are you all right here? I have to do things right now. So I started handing out gifts I had for people. You know, I was like, why? It's like, why can't we meet later? You know, that was just the first day. You know, so I thought that was really funny. Then it all happened like right off the bat. You know. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember too, basically, when I first met you and everything, I think the first thing that popped in my mind was basically, I knew you were taller than me. So I'm like 5'10", you're like, you're like, what, 6'1", 6'2"?
I was surprised by it, because you were super tall, but like, you're only like maybe a couple inches shorter than me at most, you know? But I was like, when I saw you, I was like, fuck, he's like way more handsome in real life. Because you always had your Iron Man with your mustache and all that stuff, you know, and your top hat and everything. So.
Yeah, I didn't bring a top hat with me. I just thought, since this is my first time going there, I need to get to know everybody first and basically get familiar with
full real life version.
Well, not only that, it's just also too, like, when you're first going in, like, you've known everybody online, like, especially for voice or seeing their avatar, you've never seen them in person. You gotta recognize everybody by their voices and here and there, or seeing pictures of them.
Yeah.
And so because of that, or so, I just wanted to be able to get to know everybody first and foremost before I ever thought about doing anything like that. Like next trip around, next trip around on hand, and.
I was more used to it because I'd gone the year before, and so I knew people that had gone, and I knew what they looked like and stuff. But last year was like so different because it was all people who did not go the year prior, and because they heard so many good things about the year prior, they went to 2019 with like, and I was like, wow, I don't think any of y'all were gonna show up. Like it was a whole big deal, you know.
Yeah.
So I was surprised as much as everybody else. So
yeah, and then past that or so, like later on that night, before I think later on that night at the there was that meetup at the Parkway over there by that Marriott too.
Yeah.
I think everybody was meeting up on hand, which Hyper, Sci, and a few others missed
the big meetup on Friday.
Yeah,
right?
we missed the picture on hand because we
Was
were.
it Friday or Saturday?
I think it might have been I feel like it was
Friday.
It
was Friday.
It was Friday because the reason I remember is because the Kinetic party was after that. So.
Right.
And we met up again
that picture was insane because we had a group picture from the year prior, and we had Ron was one of the developers that had actually shown up to hand out shirts and like talk to all of us at the big park they had last year and the year before in San Jose. But last year when they had it in San Diego, the park was much bigger, so they could accommodate a little more people there. So, and we also did it earlier in the day, so we weren't losing light, right? But man, we went from like, I think we only had the first time we only had maybe 100, 200 people at most that came to I think we almost had like, I don't know, 400 or 500 people at least for the VRChat meetup last year versus the year prior. So it was like way bigger of a picture with a lot more people than the community people, also streamers and everything else. So yeah, it was vastly different.
Yeah, vastly different on hand. And again, it was my first time even traveling out to San Diego because I never flew before. So basically, it was kind of like getting used to everything in general.
Wow.
Getting used to
used to flying as a kid.
I'm not.
Crazy. It's your first time flying.
Yeah, first time flying on hand. And
wow.
So I will say to pass that or so, this is always a weird question on him because I never know if somebody is ever interested in that. For the most part, like I didn't know if like say previous people I had on hand. So let's talk about anime.
Okay. All right, here we go.
All right, so
hot button topic right here.
All right, okay. So when I say anime, what would be the first series or anything that comes to your mind when you think about it?
God, I'm like a 90s kid, so like, just like, all the stuff I remember watching when I was a kid, like Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Outlaw Star, Gundam Wing, Gundam G, God, probably the Pokemon Digimon, obviously, were big ones when I was a kid. God, there's so many good ones I watch now, more or less, than back then, but back then there was a lot of stuff, I just watched everything I could when I was a little kid, because like that was all you did have. You had your work and you had your school work, right? You get home and Toonami was on for like another 3 or 4 hours, so you just watch everything that's on because why not? And then you play games the rest of the night basically. So I watched everything I could, all the Dragon Ball Z, GT, all that kind of stuff. I got into. But yeah, I think ones I enjoy still watching now as an adult, definitely Trigun and Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star and that kind of stuff. I enjoy those a lot.
Oh yeah, the golden age of basically Adult Swim when that was happening on hand.
Yeah,
I remember that. So, next question I was going to ask is basically, what would be the anime that would hit you close to home, like if you could relate to it like deeply?
Oh God, the one I cried in the most probably, which was God, what was it? Madoka Magica.
Madoka Magica.
That's a heart-wrenching anime.
Yeah, it is. It's
only 12 episodes, but it's heart-wrenching. I don't want to spoil all of it, but I'm going to say is that there's just one person in the anime where you're like, you go from believing they're kind of a dick to being like, okay, whoa, like real quick once you learn about
once you learn about their side,
how things work. But yeah, that one I cried in it at least twice watching through it both times. So. That was a hard-hitting one right there, so...
No, I got you on hand.
Yeah.
And that kind of leads me down to my last question. As you can see right here, I have this camera right in front of you and everything, and I'm going to give you the sitter forward for this, and the thing I was going to ask you is this. What are your goals and dreams? And, if you can, what would be the...
In life or in VR?
in life. Like, whatever they could be.
Oh, in life? Oh, boy.
it could be anything, content creating, stream, or basically whatever you have that you want to do.
Well, yeah.
And if you can, what would be the best advice you can ever give to anybody? I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna let you have the floor.
Okay. All right. Well, goals and dreams. I kind of work at the moment. I work in a I wouldn't say a super labor-intensive job, but I work in a job where I do work hard. I do a lot of work. I like to go and do something that I could get paid as much as I do now, but not be so, but have more control over my life. I could work out more. I could be somebody that's not always constantly being relied on to do everything. And obviously like to travel more places, see more of the world, meet new people. Just people in different cultures and understand things from their perspective and how things operate in the world. You know, not everything is America land. You know, I like to just see those things and those interactions and have those experiences with different places I like to go to. You know, that'd be kind of nice. You know, so but for advice though to give people, that's a rough one. I would say that life is hard. It's hard for all of us. You know, it doesn't matter your race, color, creed, whatever you're going through in life. There is somebody out there who is having it just as hard or harder than you. So just know that there are others around you that understand that you're suffering, and you want to get better. You want things to get better around you, and they will. It just takes time. And don't give up so easy, because things will change. Sometimes things change in a matter of days, weeks, months, maybe a couple of years. In that time, you might go from feeling really down about something and horrible to really forgetting that issue is ever a problem. So just don't give up, because if you give up, you won't get to see how things are really going to end up becoming in the long run. So that's all I can say about that, at least. So.
Alrighty.
So yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you're good, dude. You're good, dude.
Because one more thing is that rely on yourself, because you might have people around you that you love and care about. You've got friends or family, but you might not have those people in your future, you know. So you have to be reliant on what you can do and what you can do for the people around you that you can help, or those that will help you out. You know, so think about it that way, is that you are your own best friend, so use that to your advantage. Okay, I'm good now.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're fine. I'm just gonna say, goal wise and everything, all those are pretty noble on hand. Like, especially for what you want to do and just basically see the world and just like kind of get an idea of how, you know, what.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things I want to see. You know, like I'd love to go to like Poland, which is my mother country. You know, I'd like to go just different places. You know, in Japan. Oh, Japan would be so awesome. I love to go to the Seychelles Islands. You know, I mean, even traveling in the States, it's nice and fun. Like when I got to go to PA to see my buddy Senpai, you know, it's like a whole different experience up there. You know, people are different there. The environment's different. There's different stores, different things to see. You know, You know, I love to go check out some. I love to go see like all that weird cryptid stuff and all that goofy alien stuff and like West Virginia and all that kind of stuff. Just different things. You know, just to change the world around you.
No, I got you.
Instead of being always in that same rotation of like, you know, what you go through in life, you know, perpetually, you know, being what's his name? Forget the guy that was lifting up the boulder up to the mountain and going back down. Syphilis.
I know who you're talking about. I played Hades, so.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, it's just to change your routine and do different things. It will do wonders for you, you know.
And there you go. There you go. And with that in mind, guys, that will be episode 22 of Shoot the Breeze. There we go.